we gave up everything that we had, sold everything. There's no home for us to go back to. There's no car, no job. But I did not run away. There is a difference between running away and recognizing that there is more that you want for yourself. And so you must be willing to be uncomfortable and to stay in the discomfort long enough to get the results. I do not break.
I do not break. Hi, welcome to Successful Immigrant Conversations. And today I'm with Tanise Hilton. She moved from Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica to Canada. And she came in as a pharmacist. She's been able to get her certification. She's working as a pharmacist. She's now doing a PharmD. And she also coaches, she also coaches other pharmacists to get their certifications done in Canada. So if you're a pharmacist, whether you're here in Canada or you're planning to move, this interview will be very beneficial to you. So thank you, Tanise, for doing this with me.
You're
welcome to the conversation. So I know you moved from New Brunswick to Alberta, Edmonton. How does that relate? Like the two places, which one is your favorite? I'm not asking you bias, but how's life in New Brunswick as compared to Edmonton?
Well, how do they compare and how does like Alberta fit in the story? I'll give you a little backstory.
Okay.
So when we were planning to come to Canada, we were looking at Alberta because of course it has like the widest scope of practice for pharmacists.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah. But which one do I like more? I appreciate both and I think both are very important to my journey.
Okay.
But if I think about the variability or variation, I'll say that Alberta has like really stolen it for me. More opportunities. There is a lot more to do here, I think. Bigger communities here if you're looking to be a part of a community that's here too.
Okay, so what was the deciding factor for you to settle in New Brunswick first?
So as I mentioned before, procrastinated for a year.
Okay.
And I started my exams, and by the time I was done with my first exam, Alberta came in with a bridging program.
Okay.
I failed my second relisting exam, which made the bridging program mandatory.
Okay.
And so that would require me an additional 13 to 15,000 Canadian dollars to just go through that process. I just didn't have it. I did not have it, and so we decided to pivot. Very uncomfortable, I must say, because you would have been planning to go somewhere, you're looking at places that you want to live, what the environment looks like, you're already familiar with that, and you have like a picture in your mind. And now, considering my husband too, Alberta would have been the best option for him as well, because he's a chemical engineer.
Oil and gas.
Exactly,
and all that.
exactly. So that was also part of the reason why we decided to come here too. So having to shift focus to now thinking, what would life look like in New Brunswick? Like he's interviewing for jobs there and stuff like that. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So being like a pharmacist, right? I know it's one of the, safe careers most of our parents want us to do because, it's relatively easier. You finish school, you get a job and all that. It's relatively easier. So how was life for you back in Jamaica, and what informed your decision to move to Canada? Was it personal? Was it career-wise? What was the decision?
It was personal and career-wise. For both of us, we felt like pharmacy in Jamaica, I felt like there wasn't much more I could learn or do there because I thought about doing a doctorate there. But then we had 2 type A hospitals and you already have those roles being filled by pharmacists who have their doctorate. And I don't see those people going anywhere soon. And so I was like saying to myself, what's the point of doing my doctorate? And it's something I've always wanted to do. Like that's a decision I made that I was going to do it. The decision came down to where. So pharmacy, it felt like there was a ceiling. And I wanted to give myself more opportunities. I wanted to see what other areas of pharmacy I could tap into. So that would have helped with the decision. And then for both of us, we felt as if we needed a different type of environment for our daughter as well. So family too, and a family-oriented environment, like very important to us. So the ceiling for career for both of us. For both of us. My husband, as I mentioned, like he's a chemical engineer. He was in management, went back to school to do his master's. Like he did everything. Where else now
Are you supposed to go? Yeah, yeah,
So,
I get it. I can relate. I think for us, there was similar reasons why we moved, because there's always a ceiling, right? Like, as one had a global job, like, okay, so what next?
Exactly.
You know, what next? You know, and aside from, of course, when you have a family, the kids are also, you also play a major part. So how did your family take it when you decided to move? Did you tell them after you had applied or before? And how was the reaction?
Well, okay, so we told them, well, my mom knew maybe about halfway in the process, because even deciding to come here, it came from a friend when I was in, she planted the seed. And I think she was sent to plant the seed. So it came from us having a conversation about where it is that we want to go, like what is life going to look like? Do we want to stay in Jamaica? And she talked about like express entry. Now, at the time, I didn't know anything about express entry.
God bless our friends who
I know.
us. Yeah,
listen, she knows that she means so much to me, dear to my heart. She's here in Canada finally now, and I'm like so happy and so excited about that for her.
Did she come before you or after you?
She came. She literally just came last year. And I've been here for 3 years. But I kept saying to her, you are supposed to be here, because there's no way that you plant this seed and for then, my family to benefit and then you don't benefit. So I kept saying to her, like, you don't know the how, don't give up. You know, just keep holding on. And she did, and she's here. And I'm super excited. And she's here in Alberta
as well?
Yes.
Great.
And she's here in Alberta, so
you came to prepare the way for her. Now she has to, you know, guide through and makes it easier. Right. So take us through the no, you've not told us. How did your family take it?
Right. So yes, I was getting to that before I had to detour to my friends. So my mom, we told her maybe about midway, because we were planning our wedding and then COVID came and we were looking at getting a house in Jamaica. Weren't seeing anything that we wanted to get, and so we were like, you know what, let's pivot the money to this. So that's how express entry came about and the planning and everything. And in that moment, we told her, because she would have been very involved in our lives, you know, like we always talk about our plans, even the wedding planning, she was very involved in that. And so that led to her knowing. She told me at the end of it that she was scared. Because she was excited. And that's the funny
Did you have
thing.
family in Canada? No. So it's like the great unknown.
Exactly. So when we told her, she said she wasn't surprised really, because I think growing up as a child, I traveled to the US and to Bahamas. Like, those were the two first places I went. And that made me realize I don't want to live in Jamaica. I want to see the world, you know? So thinking about the US versus Canada, I've always said Canada is going to be my option, because I'm very family oriented. I want to have that kind of life where it's safe for my daughter.
For the gun crimes and all
exactly.
that.
So after working in the US, I realized it's about the hustle culture, my opinion. Because I went there and I worked and it was hustle for me, and I didn't want that. So she said, I always talked about Canada. And so when I said to her that this is what we're doing, she wasn't surprised. She was scared, but she wasn't surprised. And at the end of it, when we left, she told me, and we were here, she told me that she was so afraid for us, because we gave up everything that we had, sold everything. There's no home for us to go back to. There's no car, no job. I mean, maybe we could have gotten our jobs back if we wanted to, but we gave up everything.
And for you, that was an investment. I think for a lot of people, I mean, some people are get the opportunity not to have to sell anything. Some also have to sell everything, but they are in that dichotomy, like, I'm taking a risk. I'm selling what I know for the unknown. What are the, you know, what is the possibility of things working out? Whereby you were willing to take that risk, and we are going to talk about whether it's been worth it or not, right? So, how was it like telling your husband, convincing him, since you heard it first, you know, convincing him to, you know, make that decision with you and to take that move?
You know, it's so interesting, because we were looking at avenues that we could use to get here before that. So I think because we were searching, and my husband reached out to someone who we would have been familiar with, and she was telling him about this the school route, and both of us decided that we were not going back to school to come here,
because that route and it takes so much longer,
and the cost, it's very expensive,
paying your fees, and then now finishing and think about postgraduate work permit, and oh my goodness.
Yeah, we decided that that was not for us. So I think because we were searching, that is why we had this opportunity come to us. So it was very easy, honestly. My husband did. I just went home and said to him, hey, this person mentioned this and this and this and this. And he's like, okay, he went all in to just do the research. So it was pretty easy. Like he was more committed to it than I was. Like even, and we're probably going to talk about this later on too, where when we looked at my licensing process, because his profession is also regulated, and so he had to do his law exams and stuff like that from back home. But when I looked at mine, my reaction was, there is no
this
way
is too much. Like you
I am
get
doing
that.
that. I'm not doing it.
So we are going to get to the point where we talk about your mindset, because I know that's a big hurdle for a lot of people, like coming back and having to do some school of some sort again to get certified, to be able to practice, and especially if you're not interested in pivot and you really want to continue on the path that you came with. So take us through your PR journey from your application to your approval. How long did it take?
2 years. COVID.
That's the longest I've heard. Like that's the longest I've heard.
COVID.
Wow.
Yeah.
So how was that? Like, how was the wait like?
It was rough, but for me, it wasn't as bad because when I got to that place where I recognized I had to do the exams, I had to do, I had to go through the relisting process. What I recognized about myself at that time is the limiting belief and lack of confidence that I had. And I struggled a lot with fear and doubt. And so what I think all of these things just came. It's when you start looking for something, you get all the help that you need, right? So in that moment, I started following Coach Stormy on social media, and she had like this community where they would wake up and do meditations in the morning, and I found that she was able to get me to move, you know, and would hold you accountable, and it would sound rough and everything. And she had like a free portion of it, and I would go on in the mornings and I would meditate, and she would recommend working out, and she had like this workbook that you had to do as well to talk about affirmations and what it is that you truly really want out of life. So I found myself doing all of that work, and in doing that work, that's what led me to doing my exam, right?
So the only limitation is ourselves.
Yeah, it is. It is. And a lot of times we don't know. We don't know because it's like you being in a bubble and you're not even realizing that you're in a bubble. So you don't know what's happening outside of the bubble. And so because this opportunity came and I saw these things that I had to do, I started to realize things about myself that I needed to go and work on. So while we were waiting, I was working on my exams, and my husband did his exams as well.
You know, for those who don't know, you're able to start your exams back home before you come. So that's good. So you don't need to come here and now start spending in CAD, and then, you know, so you can start preparing before you arrive.
Yeah, it's so funny because before COVID, you were not able to do that. And so there are so many bad things that happened during COVID, but so many good things that came out of it that we learned because now they offer the opportunity to do 2 of the exams before coming here. There's one that you still have to come here to do, and there are also places that you can go in other countries, like in the US, for example, where you can do one of the exams, but you would have to come here. So I did. So I started my process
even before the approval came.
Yes,
that was a step of faith.
Listen, I don't know. I was very deep in that space that I was in, like personal development. I'm working out, I'm meditating, I'm praying. I am listening to my audios, like Miles Monroe, Jim Rohn. Like those are the people I was listening to, Tony Robbins on YouTube. And this is YouTube. Yeah, so I was so deep in that. And there were some phrases that Coach Stormy taught us, like being in the community. And when things got rough, I would just lean on those. So there was a particular time, I think it was a couple months before we got our confirmation, because we were fine. Like both of us, when my husband is low, I would be the one, like, you know, bringing both of us back, talking to both of us, like just putting good things in the universe. When I'm low, he would do that for me. And I remember closer to his birthday in 2022, because we came September 2022. And his birthday is in August. And he just had it. He applied for an update. And when he got the update, nothing had changed.
Wow.
There was nothing done on our application, nothing done on our profile, nothing. And he got the result the day of his birthday. And he was just like, I'm over it. I'm done. I'm not waiting.
Not doing this again.
I'm not waiting anymore. He decided that he was just going to spend like a whole lot of money for us to go to a hotel, and he's going to do whatever he wants to do. And I didn't tell him not to spend the money. I'm like, okay, maybe just don't spend that much.
Because you need the proof of funds.
And I don't know. I was so, and even, what's his name again? That I was listening to that always talk about when you're on the cusp of the breakthrough is when it gets harder.
Yeah.
So I remembered saying it to him, and Les Brown, oh my God. Les Brown even came in the community that I had joined, because I know I was a part of the spade community.
Okay.
I was doing everything that I needed to do to keep my mind right. And then when it wasn't right, I knew what I needed to do to get out of that place. So I said it to him, and, you know, left it. And a few weeks after that was when we got confirmation. And within, I think, about 2 weeks, we had our passports. And I remember we were sitting on the floor in our apartment at the time. I don't know why we were on the floor, but we were on the floor. And we were having a conversation about where we're going to go. Because now I had done my second exam and I wasn't successful. And again, the fear came where I'm like, okay, I failed. And I'm not going to be able to do the bridging program. And so we need to think about where else we can go. And that decision was made between the time when we got our confirmation. I think a month before we left Jamaica was when we decided to move to New Brunswick. And I remember him finding out about having a friend that is in Regina. And he was talking to the friend, and the friend is like, oh, I know somebody in New Brunswick. And he put us on to the person, and they told us everything that was wrong about New Brunswick and why we should not go there.
Mindsets.
And halfway through the conversation with that person, I stopped listening. I checked out.
So again, like on this journey, don't let somebody's experience, you know, like, yeah, it's good to do the research, but you need to have your senses heightened to know when somebody is just taking you off course.
Yeah. Discernment.
Yeah.
I checked out, and my husband put the phone on mute, and I said to him, yeah, I'm not listening to that anymore. I'm done. Because he had started interviewing with people from Jamaica, which you don't see a lot. And he was interviewing with companies that were interested because he was applying from there. We didn't have our PRs yet, and we were telling them that, oh, you know, we got our confirmation and everything. We're just waiting to get our passport and to get our confirmation of permanent residence. So we just stopped listening. And within we had to move within a month. And everybody was saying, why are you guys moving so fast? And I'm like, we waited 2 years
for this. So why are you waiting? You need to move on with your life.
Like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
I waited for 2 years. I'm not waiting anymore. So we just started like selling everything. We started telling who we needed to tell. Like, you know, there were family members that we didn't tell until we had the passport in our hand.
I totally understand you.
But again, and these people are people who love you. And it's so unfortunate that
you need to do it that way.
You need to do it because you love them and value their opinion so much that maybe they're telling you something that is coming from a place of love and care, but it's not what you need to take you to the next phase of your journey.
And sometimes not meaning any malice, but they might end up projecting certain fears and all those. And like you said, that's not what you need, you know. I remember for us, one of the scriptures that really helped us was when God told Abraham, at that time, Abraham, to leave his family and go on a journey, right? I'm sure it didn't make sense. Like, why are you going? Like, why are you taking your wife? God has called you to where, you know? And you have people telling your opinions, but like, again, like I think we're talking before this, and they're like knowing your why, and knowing who your confirmation is coming from. Like that's what sent you on that journey. So I get that, like not allowing a lot of voices into the decision that you've made. Okay. So quick pause. If this content is helping you, thank you for being here, and please hit the subscribe button. A lot of you watch, but you're not subscribed. It really helps the channel to grow and also reach more newcomers who need this content to build successful lives in Canada. Also, if you're arriving soon in Canada or you're already here and you need structured support regarding job search, and networking strategies, please reach out. The link will be in the bio, and let's get you prepared on your way to building a successful life in Canada. So now your confirmation came, packed your bags. How was the feeling when you were on the flight?
I could not wait to get to the airport. Okay. We just to show you how funny it was, because we used to drive past the airport like on days when we are just waiting and not doing anything.
Okay.
We would just drive past and I'd just be like speaking it into being and and closing my eyes and seeing myself. And it's so different when you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
Because it felt so real, but there was no fear, there was no anxiety. It was just gratitude.
Yeah.
Because waiting for so long, there were people who it just didn't work out for them. Not because of anything that they did.
Yeah. People who had been waiting, in the pool for a year, and until you're taking this journey, you cannot understand the amount of gratitude you feel.
Yeah.
Right. Like, and it's not just about, escaping from your country or anything like that, but it's like you have been given an opportunity to live out your dreams. So that's where it comes from. Right? Not that you're better than anybody else, but that God has given you that opportunity. That's great. So when you landed, how was settling in like for you? Getting, what job did you do first, or your certification? How did things roll out for you? Let's say maybe in the first month.
So in the first month, what we were focusing on was getting an apartment, for example, and my husband like to start working and stuff like that to get our vehicle license, all of that. So there's a lot that you have to do, but because and I'm gonna say because I did not do any of this planning. All I was doing was working, doing what I needed to do for my family and studying for my exams. That's it.
So what job did you do first when you came?
So I started as a pharmacy assistant for a few months.
Okay, you don't need a certification to do that.
No, you don't.
Okay.
But the thing though is a lot of times if you have experience in pharmacy, they will more go for you versus another candidate. So that can be beneficial. But yeah, so I did that for maybe about 3 months because my goal was never
to settle.
Do that for too long. So during that time I was like getting my stuff sorted with the college and everything, and I could start my internship without having to complete my OSCE, which is the third exam. Once I completed the second one, which I did the second time, and I was successful. So that allowed me to get my internship designation from the college, and I started as an intern. Yeah.
With Sobeys.
Yes.
So now I've done your research.
Yep.
Okay. So that's the usual path. You need to write 3 sets of exams, but after the second one, you're able to start your internship, right?
So it's dependent on which province you're in. So that's the next thing too. There's a lot of information that varies among the different provinces. And so you have to look at where you're going, what the requirements are, and the NAPRA Gateway is a really good resource to show you step by step what it is that you would need to do. It can be intimidating, which is the thing that I looked at and said, you know what, I'm not doing all that. But at the end of it, like it's very clear, and it's like a roadmap. So you know what you need to do first, the next step, and every detail is there.
So we've already spoken about mindset, because I really wanted to ask you, like, how was it, like the physical, mental, things that maybe stood in your way from achieving your goal? Because I know for a lot of people that's like, okay, I've done pharmacy in my country, whatever profession I'm in, I have to come back and have to study again. But you've already walked me through, like, the things that you needed to do, your mindset, and design can easily settle, like pharmacy assistant, getting paid and everything, right? But you knew your personal goals and you worked on your mindset. And I think accepting that, I have this challenge, I have this fear, I have this limiting belief. Okay, now how do I work on it to be able to overcome it and achieve my goals? Because I think a lot of us may feel intimidated by the system. It's a new country, I'm doing by a system, I didn't school here, like, would I be able to do this and all that? So I mean, you are a big inspiration, like, right? So how long did it take you to now do your final exam and then get your certification and everything?
So when I moved here, I got everything done within a year.
Wow. Okay. Is that usual or that's unusual?
You know what?
What are is that expectation so that people don't, like over expect?
It depends on what your goals are. It is very possible. You can complete all the exams and the licensing process and everything within a year. I have a friend that landed here and she did 2 of her exams. She did all her exams before she came, and
Okay.
she took 3 months to get her
Okay.
license.
Wow.
And so, again, it comes back to the groundwork that you would have done from before. I started too. Like, I did a lot of the work from before I came. So the moral of the story is, if you want to shorten the time that it's going to take you to get your actual license, there are things that you can do from your home
back home
country.
before you arrive.
And here's a plus of it. You're working, so you're still earning.
And then you're also learning about the medications and everything while
Exactly.
Talking about that, how easy was it for you working and also studying for your exam?
It was not easy. It's a sacrifice.
And being a mom.
Yes, it's a sacrifice, because I would wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, because I had a young daughter at the time. Like, when I started studying, like, she was months old. So I would wake up at 3 a.m. in the morning, because I knew when I go to work, my job is so busy that I'm going to be exhausted when I get home. There's not much learning I can do then. So I'd wake up at 3 and I would study until maybe 5. I'd work out. I had a routine. I would work out, and then I'm making breakfast and everything after that and getting ready to go to work. That would be my day every day. And one other thing that we have to realize is, it's temporary. It's not for a lifetime. And so you must be willing to be uncomfortable and to stay in the discomfort long enough to get the result.
To get what you want.
But at the end of it too is, you are going to be miles ahead, and you're going to accomplish what it is that you want, but you must be uncomfortable now, and that's fine. It's not a easy, smooth sailing process. There are going to be obstacles, and you're going to have to stretch, you're going to have to grow. And so the mindset that you're possibly coming in with is not going to take you to the finish line. Like, something I learned along the way from my coach is, the person who you are, it's taking you as far as you can go. And so to get to the next level, you need to become someone else.
Yes.
And that's the fact. A huge challenge for a lot of us as international trained pharmacists, or even just immigrants in general, is that we don't recognize the need to grow and improve, right? You're not trying to match up to anybody, but for you as an individual, you have to grow.
Like, I'm a Christian, so like the scriptures keep coming, you know, like when Jesus spoke about the old wineskins, the new wine in new wineskin. That's what he meant. You cannot put, you know, your new goals in the old you.
Yeah.
You need to get into a new wineskin.
Yeah.
And that's where the change happens. So you need to do the personal development. You need to do the mindset change. And that's why sometimes maybe people back home might say, oh, you've changed a lot. No, you are chasing new dreams or new goals. You are expanding. So you need to change you cannot achieve new goals with that old mindset.
You have to evolve. And that's just the reality of it. And I think that's where a lot of us have a challenge. We don't recognize that, and then we come in now thinking, I can stay the same, I can be comfortable, I don't need to grow, I don't need to change. You're not going to be able to accomplish what it is that you want, and then that keeps you stuck in a cycle.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So how was the feeling like when you got your certification? I saw a video of you opening it up. I'm going to add it to the video. How was it like for you?
You know, I tell every single person, it's a feeling that I can never explain to you. You will not truly understand what it feels like until you experience it. Because to know that you have done so much, you've given so much of yourself, you've invested so much. And finally, I think one of the things that made it so huge for me was because I looked at it and my first reaction was, I
won't do this.
I'm not doing it, period. And I said it to my husband and I walked away because I was done having the conversation. So to see that I did it and I got it, and I'm like, oh my God.
Like, I did it.
I did it. I was so proud.
Yeah.
Even though thinking about it, I'm like so emotional.
You're allowed to cry.
I'm telling you. It really takes so much, and we don't talk about how much it takes, especially when I think you have family. You have kids that they're demanding your time, and you can't explain to them
that
why. You know, try explaining to a 1-year-old that, listen, I'm not able to talk to you right now. You can't. And so she would wake up even at 3 a.m. with me, and I would have her in my lap, across my lap, and I'm studying and she's sleeping because she doesn't want to stay in the bed without me being there. You know? So it was a sacrifice. It was a sacrifice, but it was definitely worth it.
So at what point did you decide that you were going to use this experience to help other people and, start a business with it, like coaching other immigrants coming in as, pharmacists?
I didn't decide I was going to start a business. I truly didn't, because I was helping people from Jamaica before I even came here.
Okay.
There was like a group of maybe 10 or more people.
Okay.
Who we were studying together. And the interesting part about it is, out of that group of people, I think I was the first person to get licensed here, and I was the only person for a while. Until one of the other young lady who was in the group, she came and she got licensed in a year as well, which was amazing. It's like, but I didn't decide to start a business. What I saw when I just started is that I didn't really have a lot of help. There wasn't really a community of people, and people were doing it, but they were staying very quiet about it. And so I'm saying to myself, this is not a journey that you can do alone. And to this very day, I believe that, because if I didn't have the people that I had along the journey, I don't know where I would be or where I would have ended up. There's so many stories about pharmacists who came and they've been here for 3 years and they're working as an assistant, they're working in other fields, and they have not gotten their license. Because it is a hard process. So I didn't decide I was going to start a business, as I mentioned. We were just helping people. And in doing that, one of the young ladies, she said, what about us starting to charge for what we're doing? Because like persons would go to other people who are offering services, and what they're offering is nothing compared to what we were doing. And we were doing it for free. We just, had like a desire to help people because we went through it, and we were like,
no, we need to support others.
We need to support others. So, So we ended up starting a business, which is so fulfilling because there were so many people that we were able to help. Not just through the business, but we created a whole community of people, and it reiterated the desire and the need that was there.
How different is it working as a pharmacist in Jamaica to working in Canada? Because others will say, what's the whole fuss about getting certified? Why can't I just come in and start working? So how is the terrain different? Of course, I know basically sometimes the medications, the names are different, right? My husband is a pharmacist, so maybe I know a little bit, like maybe the molecules are the same, but the names are different. Like you guys have all these things, right? And how's the terrain like, being a pharmacist in Jamaica versus being a pharmacist here?
It's quite different. There are some similarities, but there are a lot of differences, especially if you're going to go to a province, and most of the provinces here do have expanded scope of practice. So in Jamaica, we were not doing injections. Here most or even all pharmacists are injection trained. There are also minor ailments, and those are just conditions that we're allowed to prescribe for. So you're doing an assessment with a patient, they're coming to you like they would go to the doctor. So that's something that we don't have happening in Jamaica either. And so that changes the landscape. I remember in college, one of the definitions we always hear about a pharmacist is that you're a leader, you're a counselor, you're a psychologist, you're everything to everybody. But here it is evident. When you're working as a pharmacist and you're the only pharmacist working, every single question is going to come to you. And so mental fortitude, you have to have that. It's okay to not know something, but you are not going to curl up and cry and run away. Here, they're very supportive of you, saying that you don't know something. 1 minute, I'm not 100% sure. Can you give me a minute so I can go and check on that? They will appreciate and respect you for that, because you know what your limitation is, and we don't know everything. But what you do have are resources, and you know where to go and find that information. And so, again, you have to be the manager in the pharmacy. When you have a pharmacy manager, but when you're on duty, you're in charge. You have patients coming to you. Your colleagues are coming to you, the assistants are coming to you, the phone is ringing. Like, how do you now navigate and organize your day and organize yourself where you're dealing with the most urgent situation right now? And so you have to have, I would say, leadership and management skills. Even if you did not have that back home in your country, or you weren't like really doing that because you had someone else doing everything, you have to learn know that it's a different landscape and what
Yeah.
is expected of you is
Yeah.
different,
Yeah.
right? Doctors are calling you for information. They're asking you questions. You may not get a lot of that. You're involved in decision making because you can make a recommendation to a doctor as well.
Okay.
And again, pharmacists are very respected everywhere. But I think here we're viewed as such an important resource. We are the first point of contact for a lot of our patients. We're easily accessible, especially if you're like in community pharmacy
Yes,
too.
yes.
So it's a very different landscape. You're not just going to work and you're dispensing what the doctor wrote. And yes, you're still questioning it. But again, you are a leader.
Yeah.
You're a manager.
Yeah.
You are so much to everybody. And there's a lot that is expected of you.
Fantastic. So at what point did you now decide that you're going to move from New Brunswick to Alberta? What brought you to Alberta? Because you're doing so well in New Brunswick, right? What attracted you? I know that, your husband being a chemical engineer, like oil and gas in Alberta makes sense.
Yeah.
But how did that decision,
So, I mean, going back to, and I think we were supposed to be in Alberta.
Okay.
Like that was the plan from day one. But we recognized that we needed to take a detour. So we did. And so many things happened. Like I had something that was very uncomfortable that happened with me in my job that I was there. And in the same breath, my husband was still working on getting his professional engineering designation here.
Okay.
Started the process.
How long does that one
Jamaica.
take?
Listen, it almost took 3 years and he started before he left Jamaica. We were running out of time. February this year would have been the final month that he would have had to complete the process without having to start everything again. And so we were so uncomfortable because we're like, we need to do something. He was in a job and they kept saying the role that you're in, it's not chemical engineering related. He changed the rules and that aligned more with him having some engineering experience. And so we're like, okay. So he applied for a job here and we waited a year before we heard back from them with the government here. A year. In the same breath when we started looking into opportunities for me to move.
You as well.
And it's so funny because before we even thought about me being the reason for us to move, he was applying for jobs. He came here to Edmonton to interview. So he left New Brunswick, came here, interviewed, came back, like nothing. And just before we were about to like maybe give up, I don't know. I don't think we would have, but he heard back from the government about a role that he had applied for. And for me, in my same company, there were roles available here. Like, why did we not think of me as a resource to move? We kept looking at him because again, it was about him getting his designation, So we applied and I said to my manager, like, because I was required to inform my direct manager about applying, and I said it to him. And he's like, oh, you're gonna get through. Like, I'm so excited for you. And yeah.
You got it.
I got a role. The rest is history.
I mean, that's such an inspirational story, right? Like, the whole motivation behind these conversations to show you that the journey is not easy.
Yeah.
But the end is so worth it. Like, you are going to go through the mill. You are going to feel the struggle. But at the end of the day, you look back and you know that it's so worth it. It's so worth it. And I know you're now enrolled in your PharmD.
Yes.
So did that come with the move or you applied after?
So I actually started it before I came here. So I'm a year and some months into the program. So again, I think all of that just aligned, at the right time. Because it's always something I wanted to do. And so when I looked at where I would want to do it, U of A was like the best option. Because again, Alberta has the widest scope of practice.
Look at how, like, when you decide to make the first step, like, things begin to align for you. So all it takes is for you to just take that one step of faith, right? And I know that moving from New Brunswick to Alberta was also kind of felt like starting afresh because you had to sell your house, again selling, because you sold everything in Jamaica and now you had to sell again. And guys, she bought her first house in 6 months, right, of arriving in Canada. I mean, that's not to give you pressure, but to show you that, like, your dreams are valid. And it's possible. So how did it feel like? I'm sure that when you bought the house in New Brunswick, you thought, okay, we are settling now, right? And then I had to sell and come back here. How was that process like for you?
Oh my goodness. like I really thought that we would have settled, you know, but we had all these other little things that we knew we needed to fulfill.
Okay.
And so it's so strange because I had no issue deciding to sell the house. I'd be at work and people would ask me, "So you're gonna sell your house?" And I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "What?" I'm like, "It's a house.
Yeah.
We bought it when we came.
Yeah.
You know, if we're gonna move, like, we're gonna sell it.
Sell it and get another one, you know, when you're ready.
Yeah, and within a month, like it's 1 month of me knowing that yes, the role is mine here. Like I just need to decide. Everything happened in 1 month.
Yeah. When you moved in your first month, if somebody had asked you, Tanise, how are you? What would have been your response?
I would have said I'm very tired. I am very tired because again, like there was so much happening. And it was a very hard month for me. But again, also so many amazing things happened in that month. Like my husband started that job, like he got confirmation of the job that I was mentioning earlier about him applying like for a year before hearing back. So he got confirmation that he got the role with the government here. And the same day, I promise you 5 minutes between each calls, he got the confirmation as well that he was now a professional engineer here.
Like
and so it was very hard because I'm moving, like I'm doing the exam to get my license here because you have to do that too. And we're looking at schools for my daughter.
I think that's something people don't know, that when you move provinces, you still have to do your certifications.
You have to do the law exam. It's called a jurisprudence exam because the laws for each province, they vary.
It's different.
Yeah. So I was pretty tired when I came, and I think it gave me an opportunity to just step back a whole lot, and I started doing a lot of self-care because I think I'd gotten to a place where I didn't realize how much I was just going, and I needed to just pour back into me. And so I took the time, I started work. It's not difficult because it's the same company. Different workflow, yes, but a lot of it was very similar. And so I focused on that and I focused on self-care.
A lot of people say that, you know, we are professionals, we've left our countries and we've come to Canada, so we are running away. How does that make you feel? Do you think you run away? Or how does that make you feel? When you hear those conversations, how does that make you feel?
I didn't, because I love my country, okay? I will not sit and hear anyone saying anything negative about my country. Sorry, it doesn't fly. But I did not run away. There is a difference between running away and recognizing that there is more that you want for yourself, and you see yourself in a different place and making the decision and the effort to fulfill what we call your personal legend, basically. So there's no story I can tell to say, oh, I would not go back to my country. Nobody knows that. And so when I come back now, if I decide to go back to Jamaica, I'm coming back with a wealth of knowledge. I'm coming back with experience from a different country. And so I can be a more valuable asset to my country. So it's based on perspective again. Everything is perspective. So definitely not.
So would you say the move has been worth it? Have you found what you're looking for? Or you're still on the journey to finding?
I'm still on the journey. I'm still on the journey because what I'm learning too is what you desire, it changes. And so I don't think there is a place that I'm going to get to that I will say, this is
I've arrived.
No. Like for where I was in Jamaica and what I wanted to do, I've done that.
Okay.
Right? But now where I'm at, there's something else that I need to. It has changed. And that's okay. It's life. We grow, we change, we desire different things. And it's a journey. That's something I had to learn on this, my very own journey, that life is a journey. Because I used to think you go to college, you get your degree, you start working, you build a family, and that's it.
That's it.
That's what I thought. That's what I was.
And then you wait to die.
No, like that's what I was taught, right? And so now I'm recognizing that no,
there's much more.
There's so much more. And if you have a plan and you've accomplished everything for that particular plan that you had, create a new plan.
Yes. So we keep growing, we keep changing, we keep giving, you know, and I've realized that we are not made to be just one thing. We are made to be so much more, right? So keep exploring all the things that you're capable of doing.
Yeah.
So what does all this taught you, like your personal journey, overcoming your fears, your mindsets, achieving your plans? What has it taught you? What's that one thing that has taught you that you want to share with other people?
I would want to say be open to growing and changing and improving because the goalpost moves and that's okay. You don't have to stay being the person who everybody knew you to be. Life again is a journey and be open to different experiences and different opportunities and becoming a different version of yourself because there's so many versions. But if you stay stuck in the one that you have now and the one that you're familiar with, you'll never meet the person who you could meet.
Yes.
So that's the biggest lesson for me. And it's okay to change. I didn't know that and I had to learn that. And it's definitely okay.
Yeah.
And just start. You don't have to have the entire journey planned out. Start, and the help that you need, the support that you need, the resources, it will come.
It will come. Come. So those who say there's no job in Canada, don't come to Canada.
Well, if you say that there are no jobs here, you're not going to find any.
Yeah. It's all about mindset and perspective, right?
Exactly.
What's your favorite quote?
My favorite quote? I have a lot.
Give us one of your favorites.
So one that is very big for me is I'm the ambassador for my bloodline, and I was sent to break generational curses. I do not break.
I do not break.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Tanise. Like, it's been so inspiring listening to you. Like, the mindset shift, the can-do spirit. And I know you were not born with it, but you decided to work on it and to have it and to achieve your goals. So everything is possible. We are our own limitation.
Yes.
Thank you so much for having this conversation with us.
Thank you for having me. Oh, thank you.
Right.